Hey, it's Steve and Matt, and we're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show. And today we're talking about electric fences. Shock, shock, buzz, buzz. Wake up, Matt. Wake up.
This time it's we've already mentioned we've mentioned Hollywood and a couple other blogs recently, Steve, and it feels like whenever I think electric fences, I think of some kind of like a prison break or like the good guys are trying to break into a secret facility and they always have the electric powered fences, and
Yeah. I remember dealing with this like 17, 18 years ago at a school district.
Mhm.
They wanted to put up electric fences to keep out the wildlife.
Okay.
Of course, like in Tuolumne County, things like this, where yeah, you got a lot of deer and
Right.
turkey and all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's just running rampant. And kids can't play on the playground sometimes because they're approached by feral cats and all this kind of stuff. So they're like, "Hey, can we put up electric fence?" And I was reminded of this today because Washington State business owners in Washington State are starting to put up a lot of electric fences because they are just being hammered with crime.
Yeah. Yeah. They're finding a way to attack. I mean, they can't do anything about reducing the crime around them, so they have to find a way to protect their own facilities, their own businesses. And they're finding that a standalone fence isn't enough, Steve, that they need to go to the next level of protection and actually have where you're inflicting harm on someone who attempts to enter the facility. And I get it. I understand that. If a normal fence alone isn't good enough, you're not getting that kind of support from the environment, whether it's the government or the neighborhood or whatever it is, to help protect your business. You're going to do, as a business owner, you're going to do what you need to do to protect your business. So it's just amazing though, that to think of all the people putting up electric fences though.
Yeah. And, there's a big difference between private entities, private business owners, and public agencies,
Mhm.
especially when it comes into the arena of school districts and
Mhm.
cities and counties. And, counties, cities, public works yards, things like this, we have a little more tolerance for barbed wire and electric fences. But when you get
Right.
into the school districts, we don't have that tolerance because there is small children running around or even, minors running around, and people get injured inadvertently. So
Yeah.
what you need to know about it, especially if you're a public agency, is that when it comes to barbed wire and electric fences, there's strict liability, meaning that if someone is injured, whether intentionally trying to commit a crime or not,
Right.
on your barbed wire or electric fence or razor wire, then you're on the hook for that injury. And, we've seen time and time again through California court cases where someone tries to break into a house, falls through the window, and lands on a kitchen knife. And, the jury and the court decide that, yeah, the homeowner is responsible. And it's silly, it's crazy, it's stupid,
Yeah.
but you have to take these things into consideration. And your chance of fighting a strict liability claim on razor wire or electric fences, like now electric fence, much lower chance of winning that claim than concertina wire, razor wire, barbed wire, whatever you want to say. Again, you have to be mindful of those things. So when it comes to school districts, there's areas where that may be appropriate, such as a strict maintenance yard where no student ever comes to. But on the campuses, that's really a no-no, and you have to think about other ways to deter that crime. And that goes back to what Matt was saying. The support from governmental bodies, law enforcement, the neighborhood itself, things like this. So You have to get into the mindset of that. The When you get in with the business owners, there's different consequences for them, and maybe they're not dealing with minors and children a lot. So if you're a private business and you got a youth sports camp or something like that, I would
Yeah.
advise strictly against this. But
Right.
yeah, if you're an HVAC company and you're trying to protect your assets, or a construction firm, and you're trying to protect your assets, then sure. But make sure you put up your warning signs as well. Signage
Oh,
is
yes.
key. And we were just at a client the other day, and they're running cameras and no policy, no signage, and that makes for real bad, messy, sticky type defense work when
Right.
things go wrong. And we know that people abuse anything that they can at all times. I'm dealing with this right now on a new governing document for a housing authority, and it's like some of the stuff that's in there. Well, but nobody complains about these things. Yeah, but they
Hmm.
can be misused and abused to target anyone. And if you're not going to enforce that stuff, like, and it's not really that big of a deal, then take it out. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure if you're I know I went off on a tangent there, Matt.
But I know, yeah, it's a good point though. Yeah, you did go on a tangent, but I think the broader point you're saying, Steve, is that making a decision like this, putting up electrical fences, you need to consider the extenuating circumstances and consequences of that action. Like bringing up the strict liability. It's a very good point. It's not even, let's say nobody comes into contact with your electrical friends, your electrified friends. No injury is incurred. Your insurance is still going to go up much higher by the presence of that fence, because while maybe nothing happens, they're still going to, an insurance company is still going to protect itself from the possibility of the liability you're talking about, Steve,
Yeah, absolutely.
of someone hurting themselves. And so if you add, yeah, okay, so what's more expensive? Let's say my insurance goes up by 20%. Yeah, my monthly premium goes up 20%. Well, is it more or less than the percentage of goods value that I'm losing through burglaries?
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
I
yeah, and
mean,
that's only one part of the equation. You got time, effort, labor cost, missing supplies, reordering, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a good cost benefit analysis to do when you're doing that. But the policy wise, you really have to put that in place. Like, all right, are we electrifying this fence 24 hours a day, only at night when no one's on site? Who has the authority to turn it on and off? Who has the authority to make repairs?
right.
All those types of things. What do we do when there's an incident? Do we take an incident report? Do we report it to the police? Do we have the fence checked? All these things that come into play.
Right.
Yeah, it's great to throw it up and help protect your site from those types of things, but there's a lot more to it. And I think if you listen to us on a routine basis, you always hear there's a lot more to it. So
A lot
maybe
more
that
to
should
it.
be our slogan. There's a lot more to it.
So it's certainly true in
Yeah,
our
it's
business.
true.
That's
It's
one of the
true.
one of the essential statements of our business. Yes.
It's terrible. It's never as simple as just that. And
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, I'll give you an example of this housing authority is like, no bells, no whistles, because these are nuisance devices. Okay, so you're saying that a athletic coach that lives in your housing development can't have a whistle on his property even though he doesn't use it? Like, what does that mean? you know
Right.
so a kid that's riding, a toddler that's got a little bell on their bike, now is going to cause a nuisance and force you to lose their home? No.
Yeah.
Like, take that stuff out. It's too much. But these are the things that get abused when you don't have policies and procedures. So make sure
Yes.
you have them. And we saw that yesterday when we previewed the camera system. Like, hey, where's this thing pointing at? Now I can see the neighbor's house quite clearly in this high-powered system, and
Yeah.
then the person like, oh yeah, it tracks a person walking down the street and blah
Yeah,
blah.
right. Just said, yeah, just happened the other day. Just say, yeah, you
Yeah,
can see clearly.
not good, not good. So, what happens when someone wants to tie into that fence, or you have a neighbor over there that needs to do something around that fence,
Right.
um, where's all that come into play? The bigger issue is what happens if that fence catches brush fires, brush onto fire. You have an unfriendly fire that then rages through the community. So these are
Right.
all concerns, but again, if you're going to do it with some thought and understand where you're putting it. And I would say, yes, we did put some on school campuses for wildlife management, but very, very detailed in the operation of that fence and very low voltage. So, there's different types of electric fencing. And God forbid someone accidentally comes into contact that has a pacemaker or some other, internal defibrillator or something like this, and it fries that electrical system and kills them. You got big problems. So, um, anyway, I just saw that and I thought that was interesting. I know there's going to be questions on it, and these things seem to rage through just kind of moves through the United States, and all the questions. Hey, that looks like a fun, good
Right.
idea. Like,
Yeah,
can
let's
we,
everybody do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
can we put up those deterrent entry shotguns that are, there's a string attached to the front door, so when someone opens the front door, they get shot. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, I went a little Hollywooded there, but
it's what we do. That was my first thought. Is like, oh, it's just like a movie. You got the string through two hooks. That's
right.
the socket is perfectly placed, and it's not going to move in any way. Doesn't matter about recoil or anything like that. It will trigger it perfectly and
Yeah,
fire exactly the way you need it to.
right. Well, with that, follow us on the social media. We got all the accounts. You can see them there. Don't forget to check out our Udemy and our course catalog. Hey, you know what? This is a good time. Real quick, I just want to show this to everyone while we're there, which is where'd it go? That's not it. Was I going to show them? Here we go. Oh, I just wanted to show this. Our safety data sheet management system. Hey, we've been rolling this out to a lot of folks. If you need safety data sheet management, this is a great little online program we have. We actually have quite a lot of little cool features in here, such as the image, the sheet, the names, all that good stuff. But if you're interested, hit us up because we're making waves in the safety data sheet management, and where you don't cost thousands of dollars per contract period, you can do this very inexpensively. So hit us
Yep.
up on that. We'll talk to you all on the next episode of the Risk Control Show. And don't forget, hey, you got something to say? Shoot it on in. Matt loves
Yeah.
good questions.
I'm all about talking. Steve tells me to shut up all the time.
I do. There's no one word answers.